What's up, everybody? So, today's episode is going to be cut a little short compared to the previous couple episodes I've uploaded, and we're just going to go ahead and dive straight into the game day picks. When I look at week 4, there's not a whole lot of matchups that kind of excite me. Like, oh, those are going to be great matchups to watch. I mean, Texas Tech Utah is probably the best one out of the bunch. You got some sleepers with like Arizona State versus Baylor, TCU versus SMU, but my favorite matchups of the week, I got Texas Tech versus Utah. I think both teams are in a very similar situation where neither team, to me, has played anybody. Texas Tech's best game is against Oregon State. Utah's best game is against UCLA, and both teams are kind of terrible. So, what I would want to see, because I know Texas Tech is going to bring the offense, can that defense complement? And for Utah, it's more, I know their defense is going to be brought to the table, but can that offense complement? I know Devin Damper has been electric for Utah. I think he's going to continue to be electric for Utah. I like the way they utilize him. His mobility kind of extends that offense. It brings a lot of life to that offense that they didn't have last year. But for me, I just think the offensive power that Texas Tech brings to the table with the two running backs with Williams and Dicker that they got back there in the backfield is going to be a dynamic duo. It's going to give Utah a lot of problems because Williams can really do it all. He can receive, he can run. He was very dominant in catching the ball last week against Oregon State, while Dicker was more of the run game guy. But I think with a full week, you had both those guys rotating in along with Morton. Morton's probably one of the best quarterbacks he's showcased so far. He's been one of the best pocket passers in college football. As long as that defense can complement that offense, keep Utah, don't allow Damper to really extend the pocket, extend plays, run out of the pocket, keep them contained. Because when I look at Utah's offensive line, yes, their tackles, without a doubt, top tackles in college football. By far, they're probably 2, 3, or somewhere within the top 3, top 4 tackles in the Big 12. So, really and truly, I think they're probably 1 and 2, or could be 1 and 3. But you can chop it up how you want. Those two tackles are elite. It's that interior front, those right guard to left guard, where Utah kind of struggles. When I watch film, 68 did not do really good in the run game. I mean, he pass blocked great, but when it came to running, it was very terrible, very bad to watch for me when I put on the film. So I think if Texas Tech can utilize that weakness and blitz right through 68 during fit in the run scheme and attack 68, then I think they have an opportunity to disrupt Devin Damper in that running game for Utah and keep them one-dimensional and keep Devin in the pocket. So for me, I'm riding with Texas Tech. My sleeper game of the week is going to go to Michigan versus Nebraska. A lot of folks are riding high on Michigan, but for me personally, I'm riding high on Nebraska. I think this is a year that Dylan Raiola really puts his name in college football. He helps transcend Nebraska to that next level this year. Not saying they're going to win a Big Ten title, but I think this is the best year for them to compete for one. And this win over Michigan is really going to help elevate them to that next level. Michigan's always going to bring a great defense. Michigan's offense has looked better than last year, especially with the fact that they were able to drop 63 on Central Michigan last week. They struggled against Oklahoma, only dropping 13, but Oklahoma, to me, has one of the best defenses in college football. So for Michigan, and plus they've given Bryce Underwood the green light to kind of unlock that offense. So this is a week for Nebraska with everything trending in the right direction for Michigan, for Nebraska to put up a wall and stop that momentum. And to me, I think Nebraska can do it. I liked how gritty Nebraska was in that first game of the year against Cincinnati. I think that's kind of the grit that they were missing out on last year, is edging out those close games. I think, and especially it's a home game against Nebraska, that's what I give the edge to, right? I think that home field advantage, the grit that they've developed this year, will give them the slight edge. I'm not saying Nebraska is going to win this by 14 or 3 scores. This is going to be more likely a 3-point ball game at the end of the day. But I like Nebraska grinding it out over Michigan. And for my game of the week, you got Jackson Arnold going back to Norman. I think a lot of people are expecting revenge in Norman. But for me, like I said, Oklahoma's defense is the best in the SEC. I don't think that's a question. Offensively, they've had signs of struggle. Mater has started to turn over the ball a little bit, which is a little concerning. But I think this week, being at home, they can really hone in and just keep a poised game. And I think that's going to be really the key thing for Oklahoma, keeping it controlled. Because what I've seen from Auburn is they're going to run the ball. Jackson has not looked like the same Jackson that was in Norman last year. He looks like a completely different quarterback. Auburn has really taken advantage of his capability to run the ball. He's been staying in the pocket a little bit more. And you've seen that Baylor game, when it comes down to it, if they shut him from passing the ball, Auburn's going to run the ball. You had 3 or 4 different guys running the ball in that Baylor game. So as long as they will not allow, because that's what killed Baylor, was the fact that Jackson kept getting out of the pocket. They would have the entire receiving group locked down, and then Jackson will just bust out because they open up a lane. The offensive line will just open up a lane in the pocket, and he'll break it. And I think that's what Oklahoma has to contain. And when you looked at their Michigan, Haynes had 125 yards off of 19 carries, but he broke one for 75. So he had 18 carries for 50 yards. When you take that one carry for 75 out, he averaged 2.8 yards a carry. That 75-yard run is the biggest play that Oklahoma allowed all day. And if they can limit big plays, that's going to be the key thing against this Auburn team. Because if you allow Auburn to get explosive, they're going to take that one explosive play and dice you up all day long. So as long as Oklahoma can limit those explosive plays, keep Jackson contained, make Jackson beat you with his arm, then I'm going to believe in the Oklahoma defense getting the win over Auburn this week. So those are my picks. I got Texas Tech over Utah, Nebraska over Michigan, and Oklahoma over Auburn. I'm 12-8 on the season. I'm hoping that I can continue the upward trend and not go under 500 this week, but we'll see. Like always, y'all, check out my socials, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.